I'm Sir Flowbojan Thunderhammer.
And I'm Teflon Frosthammer.
And I'm Cabbage Tidehammer.
And this
is
WAK.
If Amtgard knighthood means anything, you can't knife a motherfucker and keep it.
And the thing that people need to understand essentially about arts and sciences events is that your scores don't matter.
Do you want a black phoenix or a white phoenix?
Jeez, language, man. We're on a
nice.
freaking podcast, for fuck's sake.
Mind-blowing experience.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to WAKed. And Flo's not here, so this is about as best of an intro as you can get. So we've got Fjorn here from Bucaneer's Respite, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about freehold stuff in general. And yeah.
Yeah, and you may have heard us refer to him as Ruben on the podcast before. He's a friend of the show. He's been watching us for a long time, and we go visit his park, Bucaneer's Respite, for a while. Just as of today, actually, Bucaneer's Respite just was accepted into the kingdom.
Yeah,
right?
we also have a live studio audience in the name of Chops.
There's Chops, our studio audience. Yay! We all went out to dinner, and
we
couldn't get rid of him.
He's
it's
a
fine.
$15 subscriber to Patreon, so if you're one of those, you can be here.
I got the bean option.
The bean option, yeah. So, this is, you were getting your paperwork. We figured now was a good time. And we wanted to get your kind of input as someone who's been a part of a freehold for a long time. So,
because you guys have been a freehold for how long now?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, really? Fuck me. I thought it was just like a year. I had no idea. You may also notice a change in venue. That's because this is my house. Flo had a prior engagement. So we're doing it in my lovely office. It's a chaos.
Short answers are we're really good at scheduling things.
Oh, fantastic. It's so good. Also, starring as guests on the show is my cat, Brad. Brad, come here.
He's under the table.
Oh, bastard.
Come here, buddy. Come here. He's not going to do it.
He'll make an appearance.
Here he comes. There it is.
There he is. Yeah.
There's Brad.
That's Brad.
And Meow somewhere around here.
He's manning the camera.
Oh, I got him. Yeah,
Yep.
I see him.
So I think with introductions out of the way, Fjorn, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I've been waiting for this moment for a while. Why have you been picking on me?
Well, you see, everyone needs their own scapegoat, and you've become one of ours, I guess.
I swear, it's like every couple episodes, I'll get like Rowan will message me or something, and be like, they said your name.
I'm sorry. No, it's so early on. It started out as because we were approaching the podcast from a growing Amtgard standpoint, and I was like, "Look at this fucking park that's growing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got this one guy doing fucking everything." And all I thought was, "I just wish they'd move somewhere else."
Yeah.
Like because your location, but like apparently it fucking works for you because you've been growing the whole time. So my opinions on it be damned. And then from there on, I think it's just like. I don't know. We like you guys, so we just kind of we're like Bucaneer's Respite. Oh, Ruben.
Yeah. No. We never really took any real offense to it or anything because there never really wasn't anything to take.
I know, but you said that, and my brain went like, okay, go through every moment I've ever had on the podcast. What have I said?
Oh no! Like I've been wanting to whisper that at you face to face, right in this moment for months.
Oh my god.
No, Buck Res, the location is actually pretty fun. We've got a lot of stuff there that extra amenities that like a lot of parks in our area really don't have.
Yeah, you do.
Bathrooms.
Yeah.
Those are good, even if they are in a horrible location.
Right.
It's a little bit of a trek, but it's no big deal.
Yeah, all the way down that hill. It's not down the hill. It's a problem. It's up.
Yeah,
the
you
hill
can
afterwards.
fall down the hill and it's fine.
Yeah. No, the wall will stop you or the lake.
Right.
No, but like it's got the lodge down there, which has got the kitchen and everything in it. It's got the amphitheater down there, which I believe I don't know if they still do, but they used to do concerts and stuff down there. So the acoustics must be kind of nice, and it's overlooking the lake and everything. They got the disc golf there, and I mentioned that because you guys will love that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. But they've got a lot of family friendly stuff there, and from when I first started the park and was choosing a location, I wanted a place that would be family friendly. I wanted people to make Amtgard Sundays or Saturdays or whatever day it ended up being to be really just, hey, bring your family, come hang out, swing some stick for a couple hours, then go down to, they've got a little train down there that runs like a quarter mile up in a figure eight and back. They've got a splash pad. They've got the paddle boats. They got everything. And I really wanted that to be an option.
The guitar is a little dangerous.
Yeah, it's precarious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It really does not look good.
Sorry.
My cat Brad likes to play fetch, and he's chasing his favorite ball into my guitar. Yeah.
Well, the only reason that was a big on my mind is when I first started the chapter, read somewhere on one of the boards where somebody was complaining that she was being made to feel very unwelcome. Her and her spouse. No.
From Winter's Edge?
I can't remember where.
Okay.
No, I can't remember where. But
I do actually know a little bit of one instance that happened at Winter's Edge where someone not from Winter's Edge made a big deal about Walbaron and Winch's kids being in the feast hall area. Granted, like they had a semi-legitimate complaint in that classes were being held and they couldn't hear some stuff over the kids and everything, right? But like there's a certain point where you have to just sacrifice a little bit to make sure everybody's welcome,
right?
Right? And that was what it was. And someone else's significant other said that if that's how it's going to be, then I really don't want to be a part of Amtgard.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, like, from the family standpoint, right?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the other way around, yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
So that happened on our boards at one point, too, and again, that person was out of kingdom, and everyone from Winter's Edge that like has any kind of clout or any kind of, and even those who didn't said, no, screw off. We are a family-friendly kingdom. So
allow me to summon the courtesy of Winter's Edge. I've got fucking off.
Yeah, right. So it might have been us that you saw it on.
No, it was kind of similar, but it was like they were talking about going to their part specifically on the regular and being made to feel like they weren't welcome because they were bringing their kids. I'm like, that's insane. That's your future Amtgarders right there. Like, maybe if the kids are a little off the wall, a little too off the wall, and maybe hard to keep track of, maybe talk to the parents about, their level of involvement with Amtgard directly while they're there versus watching their children, sure. But, to make them feel just completely unwelcome. Nah, dude, you got to, if they're raised in this, they're going to get brought up in this because we don't have the youngsters in this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what is it? 28 to 32 or something like that is the
that is the average age of an Amtgard.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
right now, which is
so
weird.
old.
Yeah, no, which is weird because I feel like when I started, it was like the 18 to 24 range. So like it's age. So like it seems like those who stuck around and their friends are what's gathering people. So we're missing a younger audience.
Yeah, the new blood is not. I'm doing my part by dragging my fucking kid out every chance I get. I need him to go to bed at a normal time, please.
Well, when I first started,
we forgot the whole thing. Like, hey, so Fjorn, how did you get into Amtgard?
Oh, fuck.
If Amtgard
He's listened to the show. He knows how to derail us.
I know, right? It's a problem.
He's our kryptonite.
I've listened. Like, I'm not trying to like be come across as ridiculous, but like I explained to you at dinner, like I do nothing at not that I don't do nothing at work, but like there's so much free time.
Yeah, you're
in
able to
between the things that I do.
Yeah.
Like I've just
got
got
my coworkers. I do nothing at work, so it's fine.
Well, I just keep one earbud in and I just listen. And then when I finish the episode, I'll go back to where I left off for my next round through. Because you guys have enough content at this point to where I can go back and listen to the old episodes. And I really enjoy it because I really enjoy what we do. And I have conversations with you guys in my head like all the time. Like.
Man, it's fine. You can message us. I know you message us on the page as well. But no, you're not allowed to derail our show this early.
Sorry.
How'd you get into?
We're the only ones who are allowed to derail the show.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
I'm used to. I've got
Hold
it
on.
pinned.
Is it possible that flow is what was holding us together?
Oh no! If flow is the glue, we have a problem.
How did you get into Amtgard?
Okay. Well, it's really just the standard. Start of a they meet in a bar. Tavern and it all goes from there. D&D,
Yeah.
I'm originally from the Lionsgate chapter in Kingsport.
I was going to say Hawks Point, so Lionsgate.
Yeah, Lionsgate in Kingsport. If anybody is listening that may remember me from a long time ago, I used to be Pope.
That's why. Okay.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I didn't realize that was you. Like I knew the name, and I don't know. You may have said it. No, you did tell me that.
But it was like 2 years ago when I first came out and saw y'all.
But just a quick aside: Lionsgate and Hawks Point had a very similar situation to
Radiant Valley and Mystic
Glade, and
Splinter Group.
Sleeping Dragon. Yeah, it was a splinter group. They were one city over, and probably 30 minutes away, if even.
20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. From interstate to exit, 20 minutes.
Right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. Well, I got started in Lionsgate, and like I said, you may know me as Pope. And I used to run around with Dracos a lot, which I know that name doesn't necessarily
Not
the greatest these days, as I've come to learn as I've gotten older. But whatever it is.
I was in his company at one point too.
Yeah, I was in his. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a standard, typical, D&D thing to it. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey man," or he was in our group, and he's like, "How would you like to actually swing sticks at each other and stuff?" I was like, "Oh, absolutely."
Yeah, would I?
Right.
No, absolutely, because I'm the athletic variant on the nerd. So a marching band, all that kind of stuff. Like I was all for sweating for weird things.
What'd you play in marching band?
Trumpet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Herald of Kings and Gods. But he brought in a bunch of stuff the next meeting, and he's like, "Okay, well, everybody seems to really be enjoying this." So he had a bunch of people come out from. It could have been Sleeping Dragon. It could have been Radiant Valley. It could have been Mystic Glade. Whatever. I can't remember who specifically, but a bunch of them came out. And we were just ditching in the back parking lot of the old comic shop that we played at. Oh,
nice.
And the cops showed up and everything. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, where that was located, it was actually at a bad location. The projects was behind it.
So the cop showed up, but you were white, so it was fine.
No. Somebody had called because they legit thought that, no, it's primarily white in there.
Oh, shit,
they actually thought we were probably rival drug
initiating
people.
a new member.
Yeah. No, they legit thought we were beating the shit out of each other. And they pulled
Amtgard,
up.
blood in, blood out.
Luckily, it immediately became obvious that we were socially not all there, and it was okay.
They see one guy in rat pants, and they're like, "Oh, okay, just move on. We're good." So you start there. I know both of those parks kind of dried up at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, we don't really have to get into why. I know there was a bit of a hiatus, and then you came back fucking screaming with Buccaneer's Respite, right?
Well, it was a pitiful start. It was 3 the very first day, but I mean,
first day's never gonna.
It felt. I was like, oh God, what have I done?
Unless like a household moved somewhere, and you could just go, oh look, it's 4 of us in this household that started the park.
Yeah.
No, I was. Here's how it actually came down to. I was playing the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game at the time.
Yeah.
And
was it you that got into that, or was it
I played
Bunch?
it for a while.
it was so good. Okay. But V2 was about to come out, right? And I don't know. At that same time, Amtgard started creeping in the back of my head. And it had always been there. Sometimes I would Google it and see what was going on. I'd get on Facebook and see what was going on. But it never really latched to my brain until right around that same time V2 was coming out. And I made a conscious decision. I was like, I'm going to start an Amtgard park, or I'm going to play V2.
Right.
From what I hear, it's a good choice for Amtgard.
I think so.
V2 was not great, or is not great. I don't know.
I haven't played it.
I legit did a similar thing with War Machine. I was playing
It was supposed to be cheap Warhammer. What happened?
In some degrees it was, but then it eventually became not. But
right.
So for me, they went to V2. Also, Mark III maybe. I think it's I don't know. Whatever. It changed editions, and I played a little bit in the next edition, and then I was like, you know what? It created other problems that it fixed, and the things that it fixed created more problems. I'm like, all right, I'm done.
But
go back to Amtgard.
Yeah.
I made that decision to do that or the other, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to start a park. And I started immediately trying to get a hold of anybody in Lionsgate that was still around. Most of them moved away, which is kind of part of our problem, is we didn't have anybody replacing the old guard, so
you
it just
start
fizzled.
when you're young, right? And then all of those people grow up, they go to college. We hear this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Everybody went to college, and so our park just sort of...
There was no recruitment effort.
Right.
And Hawks Point, I know they went on for a while, and several times throughout the years I had heard little whispers that Hawks Point's playing again. But
it's like the chocolate factory is starting to operate again, right?
Really?
Well, they did. They went out and then came back and went out and then came back. I think I saw, if I remember right, the guy's name was Sin. He kind of twig figure and long hair, and then Snafu also.
Snafu did a lot of it too.
Brought it in and out, and then Snafu now is active again, sort of with you guys, right?
He actually he said to me just yesterday when we met, he's like, "Yo, dude," he's like, "I'm really glad you started this because I would take this chapter over the other 2 chapters starting back up any day."
Nice.
Just because I looking back, man, Lionsgate really did not have any kind of structure at all. Once once Dracos left, man, we were all just a bunch of 14-year-olds in a park, which that's okay. But like there was just no structure at all on how to actually do Omped Guard, to do awards, to do arts
Right.
and sciences. So ultimately,
What do you mean I can't give a Lord title?
yeah. Well, without that structure, to a certain degree, there's no reason we can't just do this in our backyards. Why do I have to come to the park to do this?
Yeah,
Right.
there is something to be said for a cult of personality aspect of it, but
That's what it was.
just as much as it is good, it's also dangerous.
There's
for
no
a
training
thing,
to
right?
take up the mantle.
yeah.
And Hawks Point was just at each other's throats all the time.
Gotcha.
And that's what ultimately did them in. And I wanted to take what I had seen from both of those things and my just generally having, the experiences I've had growing up, going through college and being president of my fraternity for about a year, and
Nice.
taking that experience and everything into it. And I was like, I really think I can build a good park here. And
You were
I
a
think I've
frat
succeeded.
bro?
It was an academic thing more.
Oh,
it was,
shit, I
it was
got
the
some
music
bushes in
fraternity.
the fridge, bud.
No, it was a music fraternity.
Okay.
And we did like American music concerts and stuff, and like
Oh, that's really cool.
promoted like American music and the history in music.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Okay, so you get Buccaneer's Respite. I said came in screaming, but apparently it was came in whispering because 3 people.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at it now, you guys have a presence on TikTok. You're really well organized on Facebook. I mean,
You guys only meet twice a month,
twice a week. Sometimes it's 3 times a month. Usually it's 2.
Gotcha.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. Like you obviously had a lot of experience on what not to do.
Yes.
Reopening a park.
Yeah.
Like when I ran my first D&D campaign, I didn't know what to do, but I knew what not to do because
Yeah.
I'd had bad DMs. So like you have that. It's almost a more useful perspective in some ways. But tell us a little bit about getting your park, because I know getting those, getting your first 3 members in the first day outing is kind of a bummer. But you've grown it pretty considerably. Is that just through being consistent, or what's that like? Like,
Oh God, man! Just to start, I have a bad memory, so
all good.
I am super organized when it comes to anything outside of my immediate personal life.
Right.
It just falls away. So if I don't keep track of that stuff like consistently, I'll lose it. So Google Drive is like the best thing ever, because I'll be sitting at work and I'm like, oh my God, I need to do this one thing, and that would be really cool. And so it ends up on the drive, and I access it from the computer and everything. I'm sending out documents to people all the time with my with the people I'm working with. So lost my thought.
No, you're good.
It's just
Google
gone.
Drive.
Oh yeah. So thankfully, that's what really kind of gave me stability in getting it all started.
Right.
And I had kind of a game plan really outlined from the start. I really wanted to start getting onto social media. I was looking at different social medias that I didn't usually have any regular contact with. I was doing a lot of research on what was going on with the Facebook group and everything, and seeing what the current climate of Omped Guard was. As far as I know, it's the same. I don't know. The internet wasn't as big a thing back when Lionsgate was around, so MySpace wasn't really hip happening for Omped Guard.
oh man. Okay, hold on. I want to keep this going, but if your park's Facebook page could have, you know how on MySpace you could have a song that
You
played.
mean
Yeah.
Angel Fire?
What would your page's song
webpage?
be?
Oh God.
And okay, hold on. Let's make this harder. It has to have been a song that would have been around when MySpace was a thing.
I can't
I
do
don't
dates like
know.
that, so I won't.
Fine. Okay, just any song then.
There's a song by the Mad Caddies that I really like called Weird Beard.
Yeah.
And it's like a ska. It's like pirate ska.
It's
It's
so
fantastic.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys talk about ska while I go home.
No, it's really good. I'll have to play it for you after.
Fuck, what would? I feel like Mystic Glade would have been some
Tub thumping.
But tub thumping for
Yeah, I
Mystic
think
Glade.
so. Well, no, for RV.
RV, okay, tub
Yeah.
thumping. I'm just like Glade would have been like a fucking Paralyzer by Finger 11, like just
Yeah,
the most butt rock song. we could,
that song.
like that would have been it, right? Because everybody's so hard and awesome.
Yeah, something similar to that.
All right, fuck. So Google Drive, documentation, getting on social media,
Yeah.
pick back up from there.
Yeah. It helped lay the foundations for all of that. So I started really delving into different social medias that I'm not accustomed to. I found out about Linktree, and I'm like, that thing's fantastic. That should be your lead URL for everything.
Right.
Because my idea was that you should be able to connect with our chapter in your preferred medium. I'm even building a website right now because I ran into a problem where one person just did not care for social media, and I was like, okay, that's a problem. I made a Squarespace.
We've actually got some problems with that too.
Yeah, I want to put a pin in this and come back to it because that's a thing I have a lot to say about.
Sure.
So I'm currently making a website. It's kind of under construction, but it is kind of up. I don't know if you've seen. I've made a few posts where I've shared the link to the announcement section.
I've missed it, unfortunately, but
The Writ of Mark event, I think, is posted there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think it's scheduled. I don't know if I've gotten that far in the schedule yet, but I did make an announcement about it.
Plug your event real quick. Because this will go up before that event.
The Writ of Mark event?
Yeah.
Okay, so June 19th. This was originally designed to be kind of our initial step into petitioning for Kingdom sponsorship or bid for Kingdom.
And it turned out it was way easier than you thought it was going to be.
Well, we just wanted to show off.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, we just wanted to show off. I've got some really cool players here, man, that are open to doing a lot of just omp-guardy things, whether that be a little on the flirby side, and God bless their hearts, some of them can't swing a stick, but they're trying. They know it. But no, they're fantastic flurbs, and they like to show off, and I'm proud of that, even if I'm more of the I'd rather just step out and beat you with a stick kind
Fjorn
of guy.
and the Fantastic Flurbs. That's the episode name.
But they like that kind of stuff, and I want to give them an opportunity to really show off to you guys. So that was the original intent. But then, I was like, well,
COVID.
We should we might not get enough people out.
Yeah.
Depending on how things are, it's going to be warmer and at a warmer point in the year, so things will die down like they did last year to a degree.
Yeah.
But who knows what winter's going to be like? But we might get enough people, but it might not be quite what we're expecting. So we figured we'd go ahead and take care of that, and whoever comes is whoever comes. But yeah, the Writ of Mark event's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm designing a battle game with walls. Hopefully, I can get those done. I'm working so much overtime on this last week
if you need
to
me to
pay
bring
for
a couple
those
of them,
walls.
just let me know.
I think I'm gonna have it. If I don't have enough, I will.
Right.
If I don't know how many
know.
you've got, but I'll talk to you about it. And,
But you still want to make them for your park
yeah.
to have.
Well, yeah, I want to have them.
We
but
don't need to talk.
It's
about
gonna
how
be.
many I have.
I've heard.
His house is just tarp walls. He lives in a tarp house.
They're doing that in California a lot.
Oh no.
But it's going to be called Fjorn's Triangle. I was like, fuck it, I'll just name it after myself.
Yeah.
It's going to be really nifty. I'm going to have like 3 entrances to it. It's going to be more of a capture the flag kind of thing.
Okay.
/ there's going to be like little balls everywhere. It'll get you bonus points.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've play tested it in my mind like so many times. I think it's gonna work out pretty well.
Okay.
I think we've got it's June 19th. If I didn't say, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yeah,
You did, but keep saying it so people will remember.
June 19th.
Yeah.
June 19th.
June 19th.
June 19th.
Yeah, and that's at Steel Creek Park in Bristol, and we're about to start putting up all the stuff for that on
cool.
Facebook and everything. I've already got something listed in our Facebook group at an event thing, and it's about to be up. But we're gonna have a raffle. We've got a bunch of our guys that have donated stuff for raffle. I'm gonna be making some of my chainmail necklaces and
awesome.
stuff to donate
Yeah.
for that, and then also do a silent auction. So I'm putting up one of those cores that we got, those carbon fibers.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to put up a carbon fiber rod for
Dude,
that.
those are actually working really well. I was a little sketched out by them at first.
Yeah, because they're so wobbly.
Yeah. But I got them.
They're
put
solid, though.
together. Once I got them put together, they're really,
Yeah,
really nice.
they're
Actually.
durable as hell. As long as you don't let anything actually touch the outside of it.
Yeah, you got to
so
tape it
I've got
first.
static
Yeah.
tape around the opposite way it's wrapped and seeing what it is, because I'll eventually put it through stress tests. I'm terrible with weapons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to put up. I'm going to put up one of those. I'm going to put up like a custom chainmail bracelet.
I have
Like
a
you
board
can
blank.
You can just tell me what you want, and I'll make it and send it to you.
You
Oh, that's really cool.
You want a board blank to raise funds for your park? I have too many board
board
blanks.
blank?
It's foam circle.
Oh yeah, no,
Like
that'd
shield
be great.
foam, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Somebody would probably.
I'll
get
send
that.
you home with that today. Just don't let me forget.
Okay. And then I think Justin was going to do a demo for arts and sciences. He's our regent currently.
Oh,
and so
perfect.
he was going to show off some arts and sciences that we've got in our park. And we're going to do lunch. We're going to do dinner. We're renting the lodge, so we've got a whole kitchen and indoor area with air
nice.
conditioning and everything.
Shoot, that's awesome.
For that, so it's just gonna be a hot dog lunch though.
Is there a price to get in? Or?
Yeah. It's $10 total technically. Okay, so the way the entrance to our park works is it's $2 per car.
Right, I remember this.
Yeah. So you bring 4 people, it's a quarter apiece.
This is why I've always harassed you about
50
your
cents a
location
piece.
because I have to pay $2 to fucking get in.
It has not been a problem. Like,
No,
really,
it's not.
It's really
It's
not.
It's fine. That's one of the reasons.
And in anticipation of that too, like when I started, he's fine. I love
just
the
attacks
cat.
the hand.
I love the cat. In anticipation of that, when we first started, I was actually personally leaving $10 of my own money at the gate with the attendant, and I told people up front, I was like, listen, if you need to use that $2 to get into the park, don't tell me. It's there at the gate. It's not any of my business, but I don't want at any point to that $2 to be the difference between whether or not you come swing stick with us or you don't. And I said, don't tell me you did it. Don't tell, because I don't care. It's not my business.
That's a quality move, man. That's really good
absolutely.
shit.
But it ended up getting to the point where like every time I went down there, $10 was always there. So I just kind of stopped leaving it at this point. After 2 years, I mean, I did it for about 6 months and nobody used it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm wasting his time and mine at this point. So
Right.
and they always know that they can park down at the free parking down at the bottom. I'll come get you, bring you back up. And if you want to carpool with somebody and you both want to split the fee to get in, it's easy. But,
Yeah.
it's technically $10. It's going to be $2 at the gate
And
and then
$8
$8 to us.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's solid. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to do a lot with that 8. The lodge is not cheap, but it's not like insanely expensive either. But for a freehold, it's kind of a little bit of money.
I mean, this is.
But thankfully, though, I've really instilled in my players from the beginning that, listen, we can meet here every weekend and swing every other weekend and swing stick and have a good time. That's no doubt. But if you're willing to pay your dues and maybe every once in a while throw $10 at the coffers if you have it, and don't feel guilty if you don't.
Right.
And we build up coffers, we can do big things and fun things. And I've instilled the idea into them early that Guard, it's good that Guard is cheap, but if you're willing to put in just that little bit extra, we can do some really cool things.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Amped Guard is cheap, but I think it is one of the best things about Amped Guard, but it's also one of the worst things because we are as a game constantly like, we need to book an event site or we need to do this thing, and it's like, well, we're all broke. It's like, come on, man, it's $6 fucking. Just give somebody $6, please.
Yeah.
But
we haven't even grown to modern times where most dues are like $10. We're still stuck in 6.
Man,
So-
I mean, like honestly, there's no other. I don't know about DAG. I know certain games now though, like they all have a membership fee, like a yearly. Like SCA is
$50 a year, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's like 50, and that's like the bottom tier. I don't even know what happens at that, but it's like you're allowed to show up and nobody will hit you or something. I mean, I'm not saying Amp Guard should be $50, but like, if you have a World of Warcraft subscription, I don't want to hear it from you at all.
Yeah, I mean, that does come down to a personal choice. If you want to do Amp Guard and you want to see, because I mean, really think about it, it's equivalent exchange there. You're paying $15 a month to these guys to run these servers and to pay their developers to create content for your game.
Right.
You're essentially doing the same exact thing when you are coming to park. You don't have to pay them $15 a month. That's
Right.
I think that's insane because we are trying to keep it cheap.
Right.
But if you are already of the mindset that I can throw in $5 a month to my local park, I can pay my developers to create better content for me
Your
through
champion
making walls
bag,
and yes.
Anything like that. You guys, every time we've came and visit, I don't know if you did it on purpose because we announced that we were visiting, but there was always like burgers and dogs and stuff like that when we came up, and I don't know if you guys do that like on a regular.
That was
basis
your
too.
We do that
right?
on a regular basis. Yeah. I think he just decided that they were going to cook because you all were coming.
Oh, okay.
Nice,
cool.
Yeah.
nice.
And we do that actually fairly regularly, and many times we've paid for that out of the coffers, out of the group
Oh,
effort.
that's awesome.
That's
You
solid.
know?
Yeah.
And because hot dogs and buns are cheap.
Well, this
y'all.
goes back to that family thing too. Like, bring
Yeah.
the kids. We'll
Yes.
fucking stuff a hot dog in them. It'll shut them up for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before about like going to eat afterwards and stuff like that, trying to do the cheap thing. But like
Yeah.
honestly, bringing it to park is probably not
It's
a bad idea.
way
either.
better.
if your park has the facilities to cook, where we
Correct.
go, we don't.
Yeah, we don't really.
Well,
have
that's true, but bringing it to park is better because it's already paid for by the group effort, and you're not asking for it up front. You're just going, hey guys, does this sound good based off what the money we have is? Would that be something we can do? And it's very cheap, and everyone gets to eat, and it's not a question of, well, you didn't bring your $3.
Well, I got to pay $2 to
Yeah.
park, but
Yes.
also I'm going to get fucking lunch. while I'm
Dragon's
there,
Hollow's
so.
done food day. I think it's once a month thing. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dragon's Hollow for this though. But they do the food day thing, and they bring kind of like a potluck type deal, and they had. I think the quote unquote winner of the competition would choose the theme for next food day or something like that.
I want in.
I'd heard about that.
I got a
And so
broccoli
then-
casserole that will fuck somebody up. I swear to God.
Yeah, so you just bring the potluck stuff, everyone eats some, and then like they give like I think some sort of grade for it. I was there for one of them, and I can't remember exactly what everything went down.
Hadn't one of your guests mentioned that as well? Something about
probably
that? I believe
Rabbit.
so.
Yeah, that sounds like a rabbit thing.
Yeah, because he's from Dragon's
Oh no,
Hollow,
that definitely was rabbit. Yeah.
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 But yeah, big shout out to Dragon's Hollow for doing that because the food day thing is a really good idea.
That is a really good idea. I loved
They-
that when I heard it.
Because of Dragon's Hollow doing the food day thing at one point, they brought a lot of people out, like a lot of people, like upwards of 60 to 70 something people out because of that as like a family day kind of thing. And that honestly, in some ways, helped Winter's Edge become Kingdom.
Yeah.
So these things can lead to really big things, you know.
Yeah. I want to double back real quick because I did say I was going to put a pin in it, and then we went pretty far. The website thing. So
Yeah.
we're in a similar boat. We actually have a couple members at our park that don't use social media. And honest to God, I wish I could be one of those people. I have too much family. I have too many groups that I'm a part of that just use Facebook to congregate. I've been one of the like everybody moved to Discord kind of people, but whatever. But there does need to be a better way for people to get this stuff. And Facebook is terrible for document organization, for announcements, for pretty much
things get
everything.
lost
Again,
and
we're
buried
missing
quickly.
the younger generation, and it's
They're not on
partially
Facebook.
because of Facebook, maybe.
Yeah,
They're
like,
not on
that's a
Facebook.
possibility.
They don't like. Yeah, I mean, like my brother, who is, I mean, thoroughly. What comes after millennials? Is it Gen Z?
Zennials or whatever. I think right.
I'm not going
People.
to call them zennials. Well, he is in that generation. You know, he's 8 years younger than me. He is thoroughly in that generation, and he does not use Facebook. He uses Snapchat. He uses TikTok, but he's
people
not.
have latched on. There's so many of them. They've all latched on to their little things.
Yeah, so we actually, I think it was, who did we interview just recently? This is going to be the episode that comes out this week. Roger.
Oh yeah.
So Roger did this thing way back in the early days of Amthgard where he had a web ring, right? And it was like everybody had their own little website. We kind of
Possibly
need
calling back the Angel Fire website.
yeah, we kind of need to go back to that. But with that in mind, I actually, so one of the things I want to do is I build, like I'm a web developer, make a fucking WordPress template that like everyone can use, and all you do is chuck it at your preferred hosting, and then you just change your theme, right? You change the colors on your theme, you upload your logo, boom, there you go, and it's a paste, a normal Word editor that anybody can use to make your announcements and store your files and everything else. That's something I would like to do. I'll work with you on that, like outside the podcast if you want to.
Sure.
But like this is a thing that like I could throw up in a day and a half and have something workable.
Okay.
But it's something that I really want to see done.
Sure.
The logistics of doing it though, because you have to explain to someone how to get hosting and how to like put the site up.
It's
and
not
how to,
too bad.
It's not
It's
that
not.
bad, but documenting it thoroughly is going to be the hardest part.
Yeah, I don't have your background, and it just spend 10 minutes on Google will teach you how to do it.
So that's a thing I want to see more people do because one, I'm fucking sick and tired of Facebook, and two, I'm tired of trying to find stuff on Facebook, y'all. It sucks.
Dude, finding something.
Yeah, it really.
Hey, when is this event? Oh, I don't know. Let me scroll past the 48 posts that got made today, and it's like, I get in a lot of ways.
Good at pinning things correctly and this, that, and the
Even
other.
if they are.
Even if they are,
Yeah.
because you have so much information dump on the pin. Usually, it's hard to find them anyway.
Well, there's
Yeah,
a
like-
search function on it, but sometimes I feel like it's not quite
So
right.
my problem with the search function is I'm like, oh, I know mid-range coming up, so then I go mid-rain, and then I have to go, oh wait, mid-rain 2021 spring.
Well,
so
and is
I
it
don't
spelled
remember.
mid-rain?
Or
Is it
is it
spelled
mid-rain?
mid-rain all
Yeah.
one? And is it mid REIN or REIGN? Because who fucking knows anymore?
Right.
Well, the tag system on that helps with that too, but
Right.
I mean, you can't. It's impossible to hold everybody's hand in a forum and get them to
We shouldn't
think,
expect
tag it
someone-
this way and do this. You can't account for
Everyone
that.
to be so fluent with the way Facebook works,
Yeah.
especially with people who are not, a part of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to move on somehow or another. We have to be progressive about it.
Yeah. And so actually, this ties into something I've been sort of kicking around. So TLDR, every nonprofit organization, they have some things they can take advantage of those and and one of those is hosting with Google, and you also get credit for like $500 a year worth of free Google advertising credit.
Oh, that's really cool.
Right. So if we do this on a kingdom level, where we say, hey, kingdom level, like here's the website, and then every park or every group within the kingdom has its own sub-site there built off of it. So, winnersedge.com/Radiant Valley, winnersedge.com/Buccaneers Respite.
Right.
And then that can be customized to whatever you want it to look like, and your regent or whoever the fuck has access to it to make the posts and put the stuff up.
Person or something. 'Cause that's
Sure.
been cropping up lately too.
Exactly. And then you have a hub for all of your parks info that is clean. It's out of the way. It will never be crowded by a bunch of other people's comments. That's kind of where I want things to go. So I don't even actually know. This is why I've been kicking it around, because logistically, it might not be up to the individual parks. It might be a kingdom level decision that we make.
Something like that would take an initiative from the kingdom level.
I don't know. In some ways, it's kind of like one Joe said, is to just present it in such a way that like it'd be dumb not to do.
Right, like I need to just do the damn thing and then be like, "Hey, Winner's Edge, hello."
Yeah.
Well, that's going to
Here
be
it
the
is.
easiest way. You need to have a proof of concept.
Right.
Ready to present. That is the thing. It does make it a lot easier if you're not like going, "Hey, here's a concept," and you're going, you give them a concept to actually hold and look at.
I like the come try LARP thing is cool. I've seen that. That's the other guy at the Dyer that
Hogman
does.
yeah,
I
the
love his
TikToks.
content. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I just like come try LARP is cool for what it is, but like I want this to be a news hub more than anything, and not an
Right.
advertising hub.
Sure.
So that would make.
No, I
a
mean
big
those
difference.
are two different separate things too.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, where did we go? I put a pin in that, and I was like, I need to get that thought
We
out
kind
into
of
the
stopped
world.
one and then came in back into this one.
Yeah,
So-
because I know there's two things. One, I know that several people who listen to this will come back and tell me like I should do this or I shouldn't. So like by putting it out there, I'm going to get that to push me. But also, if I didn't say it now, I was going to forget about it forever.
Now
No,
it's on
100%.
recording.
So sorry. Back to you. Opening the park website. Food.
Yeah.
What
pay for
about
parking.
your experience with like creating the chapter from a logistical point of view, right? From like dealing with AI or the freehold status type stuff.
Oh,
things
let's
like
get
that.
right into that. How bad did it suck being a freehold?
Man, well, the biggest thing you're going to just see on the surface level is going to be the fact that you're going to run out of ladder awards to hand out very quickly. And a couple of our core members right now that finally came around, that finally were able to take some pressure off my back and start filling out the monarchy. They're from up north. Didn't even know each other before they came down here, but now they're both living here, and it's pretty nifty. But they ended up taking positions from me, and I can't give them anything for anything they've done, helping me really get this park off the ground. They both kind of showed up. Justin kind of showed up the first 6 months, and then Moto showed up like in the second year, and it's just been growing because of their help, and there's nothing I can do to give them that. That
Right.
kind of bothers me, which I get it, push into, it's a
become
push
a part
into
of greater
become a
Vanguard,
kingdom.
basically, yeah.
I get that. It doesn't bother me too much. It's just, you run out real quick.
There's only so much you can expect people to do out of the kindness of their own hearts before you feel like you got to start paying them somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like we were just to get in Kingdom. It's not like we were just kind of, I don't know how to put it, like dragging our feet on it.
Right.
It's just, I'm of the mind I wanted to have something solid to present to you, not the other way around, that you have to get me in order
Right.
and get us up and running. If I'm coming to you as the major, the large organization that, in theory, I'm sure every kingdom has its problems, but in theory has its shit together.
Yeah.
It's not your business to have to take care of us. And I wanted to make sure we were on solid ground before we even bothered
Well,
coming
see,
to
this
y'all.
is the kind of interesting thing to me. Like, you guys are coming in, and you'll start a shire, unfortunately, because of the way everything works.
That is
right?
unfortunate,
but
but
you have
it's
barony
fine.
numbers easily by, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
almost every kingdom's definition of what
Yep.
a barony is. And shout out to Merrick. If you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, he's got a chart where he's went through all or almost all of the Kaporas.
Yeah, I think it's all at this point of the Kaporas.
That gives a big breakdown on what each kingdom says a duchy, a shire, a barony, and everything like that, what their breakdown form is as well. So that's a weird thing all in and of itself, though.
Yeah.
Right.
But refocus me.
Okay, how much did it suck being a freehold?
Oh, yeah.
Was the initial
You came in
prompt.
with bringing it. You wanted to bring the A game of your group
Yes.
versus us bringing the A game to be like, come join us.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you what,
We'll
there was
call you. Don't.
my people get a hold of your people. I tell you what, though, we did not have the level. Okay, I'm going to bitch about freeholds handling of AIs for just a minute, but I want to also preface anything I'm about to say, with I understand that AI is still fairly new. AI itself, how old is it now?
I can't remember, to be honest.
The AI, the new organization, because
Right.
AI wasn't around when I was at Lionsgate.
Right.
Right.
They're fairly new, but also they're an entirely volunteer-run organization.
And that's also what I'm getting at.
they're not
AI
going to
is
mature as quickly as
AI doesn't have 20 years of experience on its shoulders to really like have its shit together to a high level.
Right.
We're also running off of volunteerism, which, you know, I imagine some of them, depending on what they're doing, might get some form of compensation, but it's probably not even minimum wage.
I don't think any of them are competent. Like I know.
No, I don't. I'm just theory
Yeah.
crafting, you know,
Right,
based
right.
on what
They
other
should. I've
nonprofits
seen what they
probably
do.
do.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sure they're doing the best they can. The vast majority of them, and some people are just filling seats because they need them filled.
Right.
But I want to preface: I understand that they're trying to do the best. That I am absolutely in the assumption that they're doing the best that they can.
Right.
So, but here's the thing: I contacted them about our AI contract to get it started. They already said in the thing, you know, it may take a while for us to reach out to you. So okay, that's fine. I expected that. Luckily, they, you know, led with that. But after we got the AI contract taken care of, I never heard from them again. And there's a few reasons why I think that's a huge problem. One, another thing before all this too is, luckily I had at least some background within OmpGuard, and I had some background within nonprofits through my fraternity, you know, in general organizations of things. And I've always been kind of minded with that anyways.
Right.
But if someone had started an OmpGuard chapter just because they saw it at a convention 200 miles away from where they were and said, oh, I want to take that home, they do it, they are not going to have the slightest clue. They may get their chapter started, they may get their contract, but they're not going to have any clue on where to step from there. Not one. And none of that was received. And I should have received, I think, some kind of packet through my email that contained the rule book, which, you know, most likely you already got that.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're at the point where you're signing the contracts,
Yeah.
hopefully you have a rule book.
Yeah, hopefully you have a rule book, but
Just a link to it or something along those lines
Oh,
to
wow.
be sure you
Yeah.
have the most up-to-date one as well.
just in
Might be
case it's changed.
Yep.
Here's a copy of the most updated rule book. I was never given waivers, and I find that's a huge issue. I had to hunt those down, and I cannot 100% tell you that they're the correct waivers because I'm pretty sure it's the exact same one I had 11 years ago.
It's only an issue if you care about things legally, and I don't. I mean, who the fuck, you know?
You know, I'm not sure if this is just something someone put up that doesn't even have the ability to correctly write in legalese and to create said documents. It's just, I remember this is the one we had, so I said, this is the best I've got.
Right.
And one of the biggest things before, as I was starting up, huge shout out to those guys who do the OmpGuard University. I ate those up when I was coming back.
Amthgard
I
Leadership
loved
University, Goldcrest, Tie-Dye, a lot of
There's
folks
a
on
whole
that.
bunch of people.
I loved those.
Yep.
But one thing I saw in there, especially with the Prime Minister one that they did and a couple of the other ones, I kept hearing the words liability in multiple of those. And I tell you what, your freeholds who have no idea what they're doing are a bastion of liability issues.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, you know, I have no idea if the contract I have, and I'm sure there's probably a conversation to be had about the level to which you can actually uphold these
Well, Amcard's
harm
not
agreements, you know.
licensed or anything like that too. So like, this is where AI has the problems. Like you kind of touched on it, that it's volunteerism, right? But AI doesn't necessarily have the resources to do some of this because we don't have like a licensing fee or anything that's like a true income going directly to AI. And
I think that's wrong.
See, there's bonuses to both, but there's also cons, and I think so many people are so hung up on the possible cons that are happening with that could happen with that they aren't seeing like through the mist of bad things that can happen.
Okay. Well,
Right.
let me put a pin in that one because I've got something else I'd like to say
Sure.
to that. But you've got an issue with liability with your money too. All it says in the corpora for freeholds is to run if you collect dues to run it as a nonprofit would. There is a mountain of information to sort through to understand the fundamentals of what the fuck that means.
Amtgard International kind of goes, just don't do anything I wouldn't do. You're fine.
Okay, like anybody with basic sense says, hey, don't take this money home.
Yeah.
And do things with it that you're not supposed to.
Right.
Sure. But like, okay, even based on what we're doing, should I be contacting my local authorities about what we're doing and what we're holding? What is the degree that I should be dealing with? I think they should look into creating, and again, I'm not angry at these people about it, but
No, not at all.
I am
Frustrated.
passionate about it because
Right,
I
looking
think
at
it's
it from
something that
a-
needs to be fixed.
From a growth
and
of the
looked
game
at.
standpoint, if there's all this stuff that
It's
these
the growth of the game
unanswered
concept,
questions,
yes.
and somebody goes, "I want to start an Amtgard park," and then they end up where you were. I mean, you knew the game, you knew how fun it could be, and so like you had a lot more a lot more reason to go and fight through all of that red tape. But some newbie who saw it at a con and goes home and says, "I want to try it," they hit that red tape, they go,
I'm not going to do this anymore.
They might just
Yeah.
play in their backyard and leave it at that, and
Yeah.
the potential for a new park's completely gone.
"Can I just go play another game that's like this somewhere?" Oh, what's Dagger here?
What's
So-
Dag doing?
There goes our guy.
That's actually legit because after an event in Florida, we all went to a Cracker Barrel one time, and then we're eating, and we had all our garb on and everything like this, and we physically mentioned the name Amtgard and stuff, and one of the bus boys overheard it in the background. Was like, "Hey, we play Amtgard too," and we're like, "Oh, cool. What park are you from?" And he's like, "Oh, we just play in my backyard." And I
I mean,
was like,
perfect. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Like, we had an unfortunate thing with one of the people there that I think have probably put a bad taste in their mouth. But had that gone in a better direction, there's a new Amtgard park right there.
and nobody knows about it
Right.
Yep.
And he said he had 5 or 6 friends.
unless you know the magic word.
And then, 5 or 6 friends, as you already can tell, starts a park and can get it growing.
Yep.
Like, because you only had 3 to go. So, the 5 or 6 friends that were from that backyard could have been a whole nother barony somewhere in Florida.
But liability, you've got financial liability there.
Well, and in Florida, there's the alligators.
You've got the financial
extra
liability.
populous.
You've got potential physical liability because you don't. Like I said, I don't even know if the waivers I've got are correct. Then you've got I think you've got liability socially. There should probably be something in there that talks about that is coaching in regards to dealing with people.
Yeah, a little bit of a social
like
contract.
an HR kind of reach out, kind of something. This is how we would prefer that you approach people in regards to not sullying the name of Amtgard because you are representing the name of Amtgard. You are contracted.
Not just Amtgard. Like at a certain level, when you look at how society looks at LARP in general, there are like that DAG thing that happened not all that long ago is fucking terrible for all boffer sports.
I don't know what happened, but you'll have to tell me about it.
An incel DAG player got turned down by a woman who was already dating somebody, and the guy went and put a pipe bomb in the dude's mailbox.
The fuck?
Yeah, it was, and I'm probably butchering the headline a bit, but like that's the TLDR.
Sure.
And like I have told people who are not super Amtgard savvy, like a friend of mine, John, who knows what Amtgard is. Like he saw the headline and was like, "Yo, is this your thing?" And I'm
fuck,
like, "No,
yeah.
that's Dagger
Oh, yeah,
here.
if you don't
What's
know-
Dagger here? Fuck, it's like Amtgard, but you can kick
Yeah,
sometimes, and
it's
there's
those foam
no
people.
class. Yeah, and
Yeah,
like I'm
Which
like,
means all of us.
I can't explain that's not us, right? So like, and like I have, in the Role Models movie, like I still mandate that probably wasn't the best
Yeah.
thing for our game,
It
but
wasn't
again,
the worst either, though.
but people drive by and they're like, "Oh, they're playing Lair," and I'm like,
Yeah.
first off, not real. Second off, fuck. Like,
Actually,
there's no.
I think it's real.
Is it really?
I think
I
it's
have
real.
no idea.
Oh,
I've never
God.
looked into it because I just
I
assumed
think-
it was.
Okay, here's the problem though. That sort of illustrates my point because I didn't even
Yeah,
know
no,
that,
no,
and I
it
was
does.
like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
people think it's Amtgard. So like when people look at foam fighting and boffer sports on a societal level, we are all the same fucking
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
To the
an
outside
outsider.
viewer. So a social contract, a way that you should expect people to behave just in normal day-to-day shit, is kind of something that should be outlined.
Yeah.
And I like this transcends Amtgard. This needs to be a thing that everybody gets together and says like, "Hey, we're going to make our foam game good. We're going to put this thing out that we all agree to do and uphold."
That's lightly touched on in the COC by the nature of being the COC.
Right.
Except for that a COC violated doesn't transfer to another game. Right. Exactly. Preach.
It's slightly touched on in the COC, and I don't know, maybe they're counting on that part being enough. And maybe that's not my biggest gripe as compared to the liability issues of financial and physical.
Right.
But I think it is something important to maybe include in that, a little write up on something like that. And because maybe they are just relying on the COC to be enough in regards to that, and just most people in general are decent human beings.
So just
do that. Be decent.
The AmpGuard website has a how do I start kind of thing.
Yeah.
You already went to that, I'm going to assume, right?
2 years ago. So and the website changed recently.
Yeah,
so
it
I
just
don't even
recently changed. I
remember
don't
For
know
the
what
first
was on
time in a
it.
long time, we can say the website's changed
Yeah.
since then.
Right. I was just curious
Yeah.
how much of that was any help to you to some degree or not. Because
I remember reading it and taking some of that in, and I can't remember the specifics of the content, but I do remember reading some of that and some of that being valuable.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I didn't know because I haven't had to start a VARC in forever, so I
Yeah.
haven't looked at it at all.
Well, some of it was stuff I did already know, and I think that's the only parts of it that weren't valuable is stuff that I already did know. I do think I remember getting a positive outcome from that.
Because,
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't know how much I agree. I agree. There should be some sort of email, "Hey, this is the rule book up to date. This is the link where you can find it. Here are some tools of some kind to help out with recruitment or ideas or something. Some sort of packet like you were talking about that can help new parks flourish, and maybe even hey, your closest kingdom is this. This is who you would fall under, or
Right.
something like that. Right?
Well, that's kind of the next thing is they should be your pseudo kingdom until such time that they propel you into.
Okay, that's what
the
I thought they
kingdom.
were. I thought you were basically just burning lands adjacent, and that was
That's
You're
how
nothing.
it used to be.
oh
Yeah, that is how it used to be because when we were Lionsgate, everything basically had the Burning Lands crest on it, right?
okay.
but
So that's not the case anymore. You're just kind of
not as far as I'm aware.
you're just an island out in the fucking sea.
Well,
good
yeah,
luck.
and that's the truth. And there's no shipping lanes nearby. There's no communication there. So especially if you're again not with my background of
Right.
AmpGuard already, you don't know really that you're supposed to be pursuing kingdom sponsorship. It's in the back of the rule book, during
Right.
that appendix talking about kingdom sponsorship, but you aren't going to necessarily understand the significance of that, why you should do that, the benefits you're going to get from that, or even necessarily how to go about that.
Yeah, as you're saying this, it kind of dawns on me that we should start treating new parks and freeholds kind of like franchisees of AmpGuard.
AI should be there should be their pseudo kingdom pushing them to an actual kingdom.
Right.
If this weird, I like it and I don't like it, the way we kind of franchise the kingdoms out like this, I think it shoots ourselves in the foot as much as it, as much as it helps. I think it's a double-edged sword is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But if this is the system you want to do, then you need to help propel and
Do it better.
help that system function. Because the kingdoms aren't going to be aware that these new parks are sprouting up until one of them maybe is aware that it's on. Oh, wait, there wasn't a park there at Bristol.
Yeah,
last time I looked at Orc.
the person at Burning Lands needs to go, okay, you want to be an AmpGuard
it's not
park?
Burning
It's not
Lands
Burning Lands at all anymore.
fuck.
But I understand why
The
you're falling into
AmpGuard
that.
International liaison that you speak with
Yeah.
Right.
should go, okay, cool, you want to start a
Old
park.
habits.
Well, you're located here. Okay, there's no other parks nearby, so yeah, totally fine. You're actually in this kingdom. You're on Winter's Edge. We're going to put you in touch with Winter's Edge.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking
and
for
boom,
there.
here you go. Here's Winter's Edge. Winter's Edge. Here's Buccaneer's
That's all they'd have
Respite.
to do.
And we're out. That's it. That's all we had to do. Well, and here's your fucking packet with up-to-date info and waivers. And that's it, right?
That's all I'd have to do is just get you in contact with the current monarchy team.
Well,
at the least.
the sticking point with the waivers, in some degree, I feel like, is once AI puts out a waiver, AI itself becomes liable, right? And again, they don't have a true cash flow, so paying a lawyer to be able to get out a waiver that's going to be acceptable may be part of the issue.
Well,
right?
okay.
AmpGuard
well, then-
International has been able to afford lawyers in the past.
I mean,
True.
yes,
Not that long ago.
but through major necessity.
Well, then here's my thought on that. If AI as it exists now cannot operate at the level it needs to be able to operate, because that's another thing I've been hearing a lot too. AI doesn't want to take on the liability. I hate to break it to you. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but as far as I'm aware, you are stuck with the liability by being AI. You can't just
yeah.
avoid it because nose goes.
Right.
Like you are the operating entity for the organization as a whole. It's coming your way whether you like it or
Right.
not. So you need to own it and make sure that the liability is properly checked.
Well, I mean, to the point of the pipe bomb issue, right? Like, if that happened in the AmpGuard chapter, then right now the kind of AI stance is like hands off, and that kingdom deals with it.
Hands off it. You are the
Okay.
headquarters.
Dog, no. So at like in my last week in office, some shit came up that I'm not going to talk about, but some shit came up that was like, AI was like, hey, somebody in your area contacted us about this thing, and we need you to sort of look into it because it's a player in your kingdom, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I looked at it, and I said, holy shit, this is really, like, not great. Like, this sucks,
Yeah.
if it's true. So, I reached back out to the guy, and I said, hey, so what does AI recommend here? And he's like, oh, I don't know, man, but you should probably lawyer up. And I was like, cool, thanks, bud. Do you have any other hot tips for me?
Yeah.
Like, wear
Yeah.
underwear and change your socks? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, do you have anything I can go? Nah, you should just lawyer up. And I get it. They're not incorporated in the state of Tennessee. They don't know what our laws are. They can't really speak to that. And if they did, they might get themselves in more trouble because they carry the liability or whatever the fuck. But, like, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, well, we're going to lawyer up. So talk to a lawyer. The lawyer basically said, hey, they don't have a case right now. So you can only make things worse by talking to this person.
Sure.
Because they don't have a case right now, and if you say the wrong thing, they might have a case.
Yeah.
So we go, okay, cool. So because they were emailing AI, they were just going over our heads. I went back to AI and I said, hey, so our decision right now after talking to a lawyer is just to not respond. So if they keep hitting you up, you can forward the messages, but until they like serve us, we're not going to say anything. And they said, yeah, that's cool. That's what our lawyers thought you should do as well.
Then why didn't you say that?
Hey, asshole, real quick. You had fucking lawyers with opinions, and you didn't like pass that down the fucking line.
Yeah.
Oh, the liability, motherfucker! Like
maybe I'm not understanding something. Maybe I am not understanding when it comes to working in between the states. Maybe, but it just seems to me like at the end of the day, it's if the buck's got to stop anywhere, the last stop is AI.
Well,
Right.
yeah, like I personally feel like, again, like with the pipe bomb issue, right? If that came back to AmpGuard as a name, like similar in a way that we had with the lawsuit with the
Right.
trademark or copyright or whatever, then at some point AI has to step in, I feel like.
well,
So-
this was my question, right? Is say the pipe bomb thing happened in Winter's Edge,
Sure.
and then Winter's Edge gets sued because we did something it's against the law, right? We
Right.
fucked up real bad. So Winter's Edge has about $8,000 in its coffers. So we get sued and we lose all $8,000 that we have. Or worse than that, we don't have $8,000. We don't have $1 after we've paid for the lawsuit that we
Right.
lost. Do they not just go up the chain to AmpGuard International next?
Right.
Like, what legally prevents them from doing that?
I have no idea because that's way outside my.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's something. Like
it
there
is, but
we're kind of talking out of our realm of expertise,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
there might be something. But like, if I was the
But
person,
as a
and
layman, like thinking about it, right?
just trying to
what's
think
the
about it
logical
rationally.
Next step.
if
Yeah.
I had hot coffee poured all over my dick and I sued McDonald's and they were like, "Oh, sorry, we're going to close. We're out of money," I wouldn't just stop and go, "Well, I got that franchise closed." I would sue McDonald's. Like,
Yeah, the overarching.
I would go
company of it.
overarching. I would keep going up the chain till I found somebody who had my fucking money, or until
Right.
McDonald's wasn't a thing anymore. So, like, surely that can. Maybe I don't fucking know.
I would just assume that it has to end up at their doorstep at some point.
But
Well,
the attitude of AI just being like, I don't know, lawyer up, good
That
luck.
seems to be the stories that I'm hearing, and that doesn't seem right to
experiencing
me.
Too, apparently,
yeah,
too.
countless hours of sleep lost over like, yeah, lawyer up, good luck.
Well, bringing back to that pin I put,
Yeah.
ultimately it comes down to is if we could just be, we can do we do not have to have the organizational structure that we have to play OmpGuard. So if you're going to do it, fucking do it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking do it right. Like, I am a small fish in a big pond. I know I'm coming at y'all from a little tiny freehold in the corner of Bristol, and y'all are the closest park. There's nothing around me without coming
Listen to
an
those
hour and a
pals.
half to Knoxville.
Yeah, y'all got pals. Y'all got
I'm
Frenchy
in the
fries and
mountain
Dr.
of-
Enough.
Yeah, I'm in the mountains of Appalachia.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe what I say doesn't matter, but like, I hear the argument all the time, or I see people advocating for like, we don't need AI, we don't need the kingdoms, all that stuff. That's fine. You can absolutely do this in your backyard.
And then now we have chosen as a game not to do that anymore.
There are so many benefits to being able to do this as an organization, and we should choose to do it right because it gives us access to the insurance. It gives us access to money pooled to give us these large venues and all these things. There is such a huge wealth of benefit to that, but we need to make sure we're doing it right.
The growth
from the outside, I don't think on the large scale it's being done right, except for maybe just a few small places.
You know, I wonder, and this could really put a whole lid on this conversation, and I know I don't know if they will, but somewhere, somebody at AI has the data, and they can tell us how many freeholds exist, how many freeholds have applied to become freeholds, and then how many of those parks still exist today.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting...
Because
it's interesting bit of statistics.
If it's like 90% of those parks are still active, then guess what? We're all wrong. But I'm willing to bet that the vast majority of those parks aren't still active.
Right.
Well,
and that indicates something on AI's side that like, hey, you could be doing this better.
Between the four of us sitting here at this table, you know, how many can we count that don't exist anymore? I can count 2 personally.
Right. And I mean, you may have to apply something like how long did those parks exist before they folded? Because like we could say Glade doesn't exist anymore, but
that's fair.
Like you would have to filter that data, but I'm still willing to bet. Yeah, I'm still willing to bet that like there are plenty of parks from AI that existed as freeholds for a year and then evaporated.
Well, yeah. To your point, like Hawks Point, Lionsgate. Well, Lionsgate maybe not. But Hawks Point, like Sleeping Dragon or Pantor or something like that, those things eventually ended up into a kingdom or close to it anyway. But what's I think Lucas is driving at is how many didn't make contact with the kingdom and how many of those are still around. Right.
That would be a good. That'd be good.
Just put it on a scale of like how long did it take you to join the kingdom? 2 years.
2 years. We will.
You could have done it after a year.
We just did 2-year celebration.
Yeah. So
you guys got stuck with COVID also. So that
but we only got better through COVID.
I know you guys did great.
That's amazing. So I mean, realistically though, you could say how many freeholds exist for a year and then stop existing in any capacity?
Probably quite a few. Actually, I had somebody reach out to me on TikTok just recently where we've started.
God, of all places.
Yeah. Well, we had somebody reach out and he was from the Florida area. And I've anybody who's reached out to me on TikTok, they're like, "Oh man, I'd really like to do this." I immediately messaged them, "Where are you from?"
Yeah.
And I tried to help set up a guy with a group in Florida. Mm-hmm. I looked up he told me what city he was in. Looked up the closest chapter to him because I'll go ahead and say this. I hate it when people go on the unofficial board and someone goes, "Hey, man, I'd really like to play Omcard. Is there a chapter in my area?" And all they do is drop the atlas. Quit that shit.
Yeah,
help them find a fucking chapter and support your game. I hate that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm cursing so much, and I know it's okay. I've heard you say it's okay.
Fuck like 25 times.
I know, but I'm going to put you guys on another level. Spotify's going to be pissed.
The word "fuck" is in our intro, bud.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Shalazar.
But violence in our intro.
I mark every episode as explicit, even if it's not, just because I don't ever want to run foul of Spotify or iTunes or fuck.
But there's a park right there that it was like right in his backyard. Could not find anybody to get a hold of because they had 2 meetings and of 2 people and then nothing. So it immediately told me that they're not meeting online through COVID, nothing. And I even tried to reach out. I found them on Facebook, found their group, and I tried to reach out to them, and that just went absolutely nowhere. So, I mean, there's one for you right there. Mm-hmm. And they haven't even been meeting in a while. And that, you know, we probably need to be checking in on that. If a park has had no sign-ins on Orc in a year, can we just go ahead and sage that?
Well, so that comes down to the kingdom level.
Automatically?
Like the kingdom should audit that.
But what if it's just a freehold?
Well, yeah, okay. If it's a freehold, that's different. But within a kingdom, that is actually the kingdom's responsibility. We should hold an audit. Although throughout COVID, we, as Winter's Edge, didn't have an audit for a lot of different reasons. Mostly because at first I didn't want to hold an audit because I was like, well, everybody's going to get kicked in the nards really fucking hard and they're going to lose their barony status or get put on watch or whatever. But then it kind of became the opposite because of online COVID and online sign-ins.
Everybody's visiting everybody. So I mean, really, everybody's attendance is up.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Radiant Valley, which is a good barony, could have been a grand duchy.
Yeah.
And like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
No, we're
'Cause
not.
It has the opposite effect of
We get
inflating things.
Yeah,
when it
and
shouldn't.
so every park's giving out 7th
Yeah.
level, whatever. Like, that's not totally great. And then after COVID happens, everybody gets put on watch because nobody can keep those numbers up except for
Sure.
Dragon's Hollow, right?
Right, yeah.
So everybody gets kind of fucked again when we drop off of it. So I said, we're just not going to do an audit. But in general, that should be on a kingdom level where they do that.
And I want to say one more thing. I'm going to look at the camera right at you guys and say
everybody
this.
look.
I am not ragging on AI.
No.
It sounds like I'm ragging on AI. I'm not ragging
Being
on
critical
AI.
of something is not necessarily ragging.
It's
on
because
them,
I love
right?
it. If you can't, if you can't be critical of something if you don't actually care about the outcome.
It's the Dr. Cox thing from Scrubs, right? Like, when I'm mad at you, you'll know because I'll just stop bitching at you.
Well, I mean, and I say all this, and everybody's like, "Well, if you don't have a solution, then don't come."
No, I hate
don't.
that shit.
Well, I actually have genuine interest in looking at AI and probably taking up a role sometime, and probably in the next couple of years, depending on
dumb
how things are.
bastard.
No. Like I'm passionate about this. Like I'm saying something because I want to fucking fix it. I'm looking in on this and going, I'm sure there are plenty of things I don't understand.
Well, it's a lot of
But
work, first off.
I'm sure it is.
The organization moves really slowly because of
Sure.
the size of it and because we're in almost all 50 states.
Sure, but I'm gonna kick it in the ass.
Sure. And like
Dude, more power to you.
the part where I think this becomes a problem, and specifically with freeholds, is there's probably one person at AI doing all of the freehold liaison stuff.
Probably.
And they're probably doing this in addition to all of their other work. you
Sure.
know? And so it becomes one of those things where it's almost like a second job for them.
Sure.
And at a certain point, like I have been stressed enough where you just go, I'm not getting paid for this. Like
Sure.
I'm gonna go fucking eat pizza in the bathtub. Like I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I wonder how much of that comes down to it. And this would all be solved, right? If we could just pay AI a salary for doing
Yeah,
what they
at
fucking
least
do.
something.
Yeah, just something so they could,
$50 a month to pay your internet. Thank you for doing all the things that you do on a
Why
national
not?
level that requires that internet.
Why not? Right? Exactly. It doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, I think it should be something.
Sure.
Because that alone would have been the impetus for me in a lot of cases to just go, man, okay, I'm going to do the thing. Like, it's paying my fucking internet.
I think it
Let's
would
go
help
do
them
it.
a lot. I think it would help with that a lot. But, it comes down to taxes and then everybody trying to actually push that money to the top.
Right.
Which, to me, already should exist.
Well, and, also the state of Amtgard in general, too, you would say, okay, we're going to pay $50 for everybody's internet that's on the BOD, and then God forbid the minutes to a meeting are one day late, and people go, what are we paying these people for? Like, well, first off, it's $50. So
Yeah.
fucking chill, bud.
Yeah, it's not making or breaking nobody.
Yeah, and second off, these minutes not being posted, maybe they'll be up tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
Give them
People
a
would
minute.
just have to be patient.
Yeah.
But they already rag on them when they don't get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the way we treat volunteers in our game is a whole other rant that we could go on. But specific to freeholds, though, like I think that could help a lot if there was a person there who like was somehow incentivized to actually do this work and keep it up to date because it's a lot.
I actually genuinely want to help, and I hope in the next. My wife's trying to get through school. My son's still pretty young, and because of where we are currently, I'm working overtime at an insane rate. Like
Right.
I don't work less than a 60-hour week.
Jesus, man.
Any week. Some of them are 72-hour weeks. And that's through my own choice, but I'm just trying to get my own personal financial situation to a place that I want to be.
Yeah, get
so
yourself
what I'm saying
comfortable.
is like I want to take on an AI role, and I'm hoping I can do that probably within the next 2 years. I really want to do that, and I
Yeah,
really
but
want
don't
to
risk your home
help things.
situation to do
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I cannot do it now.
Yeah.
and I'm not coming here going, well, I don't have a solution, but I'll bitch about it. Like I want to be a part of that solution, and I hope I can do
I
that
still
very
don't
soon.
agree with that whole, well, if you don't like it, find a solution thing. Because in and of itself, pointing out that there's a problem is part of the solution.
No,
You
I
have
agree.
to
I
identify
agree.
the thing.
No, I do agree.
And like if I point out a problem to something, I may not have the skill set or knowledge base to actually provide a good solution.
Well, this is the engineering thing, right? Like a lot of people point out problems with products that engineers have to solve, and it's not because like, oh, only an engineer can do it, but like nobody noticed that problem until someone tried to do a thing they weren't able to do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't notice that problem, so the end user has to go, oh, hey, actually, this doesn't work.
Yeah, developers can play test something as much as they want, but there's still a small amount of people. Like Magic the Gathering, right? They can sit there and try to figure out what combinations are broken in their card game before they release the set.
A great
but until
example-
as soon as you release it, you went from 12 tests a day to millions of
Right.
iterations
Right.
happening a day, and you're going to find things you never looked at.
Well, this is like a
That's
thing
true
with
for this.
accessibility design, right? Like wheelchair ramps. When they first came out,
Yeah.
like it was like, oh, wheelchair ramps, great. We solved the problem for people in wheelchairs. And nobody who built the fucking wheelchair ramp tried to actually go up it in a wheelchair. And eventually they were like, hey, these are too steep and people are falling over. And like, it takes a lot of power to get up. Like, so now you'll see wheelchair ramps that kind of like go up and then they come across and they have a more, different grade. And that's one of those things that, we as people who can walk upstairs go, oh, it's like a wheelchair ramp.
Yeah, certain things for granted.
Yeah, right. And it's like until somebody actually gets a hold of your thing and uses it and then realizes, oh, it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So like, yeah, you can point out problems with something and say, hey, this isn't working the way it's supposed to. And that's fine. Like, that's useful. That's part of the process, right? Oh, Brad. Sorry, my cat was very, very cozy.
I ended up kind of in an argument. With somebody on Facebook. I can't remember her name, but it came across. I could tell it was coming across as argumentative from my perspective, only because you lose so much perspective through text on Facebook.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And I tried to many times. I was like, listen, I'm not actually angry. I'm just, I'm direct.
Right.
But it was about something that happened on the main boards that they were discussing, and in my ignorance, I was like, well, it's not like we have an HR department.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, we do have an HR department.
Actually?
And I was just like, well, of another list of things I should have gotten when all this started, like the corporate web.
Contact for HR?
Yeah, like HR, like, wow, that's
know we had
fantastic. I didn't know about the ombudsman. I didn't know about a lot of things. Like talking about the social aspect of the game and having some cues for that when you start your chapter, the ombudsman would have been a fantastic thing to know about up front.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
HR too.
underused.
No,
It probably is.
The ombudsman
Might be.
program, I'm sorry, is vastly incorrectly used.
Probably.
The ombudsman program is
Yeah,
meant
I've
to
seen
be
the
a
stories.
Yeah, it's meant to be a third party, like, hey, I think something wrong happened here. Like, I think our rules weren't followed, and the people who should uphold that aren't doing it. So I'm going to reach out to the ombudsman program who can touch back in, But what it always becomes is, I got banned and they're not letting me back in. I'm telling the ombudsman.
Yeah, they
And
don't have any power, bud.
Yeah, and no, every time the ombudsman goes, hey, it's me again. I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
This player got banned and they said you're just being a dick or whatever. Can you tell me like the circumstances? And I'm like, yeah, sure. They were banned for this reason. You've got the same NDA I have, so here's exactly why they were banned. And here's the process we followed. Here's the investigation, and here is, our final ruling on the matter. And they always go, okay, cool. Well, it says in your Kapora that they can appeal it at an all thing. Did you tell them that they can appeal it at an all thing? Yeah, we did. Okay. I'm going to tell them again that they can appeal it at an all thing, and then maybe they'll stop messaging me because I'm trying to eat dinner with my family.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking ombudsman program has been thrown into, and it's like, I feel bad for them because it's
seen that.
wrong.
It's purely a third party thing. It could even be something so much as, hey, I need to have a very difficult conversation with somebody.
Right.
I need a third party to witness just to make sure that this isn't odd, or maybe on the phone call or something.
Right.
Just so I have somebody to back me up on this. Could you do that? It's more like visiting your therapist, not going to your governor.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, there are all these. There's a lot of cool facets of Vanguard Deal, right? There's HR, which could be really useful if anybody knew how to contact them.
Sure.
I just go into my backyard and yell Linda and hope someone shows up. There is the ombudsman program, which people don't know how it's supposed to fucking work.
They've got like the LGBTQ assistance.
The inclusivity,
Yes, that.
diversity and inclusivity.
Yeah, which I guess would extend just beyond the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
It would be, also
Right.
extend to people of color and
Diversity
everything.
and inclusivity committee. No, because that would spell dick and not.
We got to watch those for sure.
Yeah, HR's got the dick all over the place. No, damn it, what is that called? It's anyway. Yeah,
That would have
they've
been a
had
good
that.
thing to include on the web. I think that actually wasn't actually founded until after we started, but that would have been another great thing to have because, I'm a very inclusive person, and one thing I'm proud that people have said when they come to our park is I feel so welcome here.
Right.
And I hope this doesn't get taken the wrong way, but the first time we had a person of color come out, I was like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, it's not just a bunch of white dudes out here now. Like that, I was happy about that. I pump my fists. That's going to offer us some legitimacy outside of just a bunch of white dudes.
No, yes, absolutely. The problem, I think, you said something that I don't disagree with, but when somebody comes out to your park and says like, wow, I feel so welcome here, I almost feel bad because that means they went somewhere else where they didn't feel welcomed. And
or
specifically
at least perceived as such, right?
Yeah, and if somebody said, oh, I feel so welcome at your park, Like the implication being that they've been to other parks that they didn't feel like.
Oh no, they just mean here in general.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Good.
it could be though.
Oh,
right?
it's possible.
I interpreted it that way, but like he's saying, okay, that's better.
I've been typically interpreting it as like this is a group of people that like we're just chill and like we
kind of surprised that they're welcome there.
yeah, that we're
idea.
that we're that just cool.
Yeah.
But as much as I watch my words when I deal with people and I'm aware of situations,
Yeah.
there may be a day where out of my own ignorance I fuck up and say something that I shouldn't have and offend somebody of whatever, having access to the HR department or the inclusivity department to go, hey, here's what happened. I'm just trying to make this aware. So instead of this blowing up, you can help me fix the problem.
Yeah.
So having access to these people and having, being more aware of how I can access people would really help. And that's something I would also like to see included in a freehold package.
Yeah.
How to get a hold
really
of HR, how to get a hold of the ombudsman, how to get a hold of the inclusivity team.
Well, and I think most of these have like static email addresses too, so it's not like you'd have to update that packet every year. You have to make it once, and then your HR contact is hr@amthgardinternational.org or
Right.
Yeah.
whatever it is.
But I don't even have any of that, and I'm sure there's ways to find it, but I'm so busy running my chapter, making sure that every time.
Who knew?
Your work, your life, your
Yeah,
whatever.
and I'm working 60 hours a week, and
Yeah.
I've got my son and my wife, and extended family issues and everything. It would be nice if that could be presented to me.
Yeah, it speaks to the level of documentation that's needed. Think about like the first time you got hired somewhere, and I know everybody's job isn't the same, but when you step into a place, they always give you like, hey, here's our rules, and here's our work ethic thing. Here's watch a video about how to make hamburgers. But they always give you the information that's like, here's everything you need to know.
Yeah.
And one day we're going to fire you for some obscure reason, and it's going to have been in that packet that we know you're not going to read.
Yeah.
But
it's your fault if you don't read it,
Right.
not that it wasn't presented.
we want to be a professional organization. We need to have professional documentation.
Yeah.
So who is going to jump on that grenade?
No, not it.
In about 2 years, I might.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've kind of blasted the freehold status. It has its problems. I get why it exists. I don't know that we can beat this dead horse for that much longer.
Well, here's the thing: if they want to pass it down so much, why are we even? Here's the thing: if AI wants to pass the buck so frequently, why am I even signing a contract with AI? Why am I not just signing a contract with Winner's Edge right out of the bat? Why aren't they just going, okay, cool, glad that you want to do that. Forward this to such and such, and then immediately I'm just dealing with you for the rest of whatever.
Yeah,
that's a solid point, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, I see nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you. Like, hey, you want to be an Amthgard Park? That's really cool. Email winnersedgemonarch@gmail.com. There you go. Okay, get out of our hair.
Bam, bye. And then most likely somebody will have the foresight to go, hey, here's all the stuff.
Right.
Hopefully.
Why not?
Yeah, no, I
Hold on. No, I'm having a real hard moment here trying to figure out.
There's this problem of like tradition, right? Where we do tradition for tradition's sake kind of aspect. And I wonder if freeholds is just that.
It is.
And that maybe we need to just change the way we do things and be like, oh, you're in this area, you will fall under this kingdom, so you need to talk to this person, and they will get you your packet for starting starting your shire, and just call it that and be done with it.
Is it maybe a quality control thing? Because a kingdom could just adopt a shit ton of freeholds really quickly and do fuckery somehow. Like, I don't know.
Well, there's already rules based on distance to kingdom seats and everything. Like, there's no one else for me to go to as far as I can see, unless you were to turn me down or our chapter down, which why would you?
Yeah,
Well,
you go to
even if
Rising
we
Winds.
did
And then we go to Rising Winds.
Can Rising Winds or someone else realistically pick you up?
Yes, they can.
Okay, they can.
Yeah, they can.
They can. But, and we found this out the hard way, if we as Winner's Edge just don't like Ruben for some reason, we can actually say, like, we're turning them down and they may not be a part of the kingdom.
And then we would go to Rising Winds.
Right.
No. And then
know?
you go to Rising Winds and you can't.
Right.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
like
weird.
this happened with a park in Viridian Outlands not all that long ago where they petitioned VO. VO said no for whatever reason. And then they blocked their petition status. So when they tried to go to Dragonspine, Dragonspine couldn't actually adopt them, even if Dragonspine wanted to.
Ouch.
That's odd.
Yeah, and I was like, boy,
That's
somebody
really
broke
odd.
up with somebody or something like this. Somebody's got a scar on their heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was really shitty. And like they had to go to AI, and AI was like, oh well, we've got to convene the circle about this because
we don't have an
Circle.
answer. That's
Yeah.
not a thing we've addressed before.
we didn't think this would happen.
Again, pointing
Dick
out a
move.
problem and is better than just going, oh, I've got this crappy ass solution that doesn't actually do anything.
Right.
I think it would just be a generally good idea to just get you immediately into contact with.
Yeah, no, I think
going by the rules of proximity,
Closest
just immediately getting you in contact with them and going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and if more kingdoms took advantage of the resources, and by the way, I'm calling out my own kingdom as much as I'm calling out any other kingdom because Winter's Edge doesn't currently. If more kingdoms took advantage of the resources that are available to them, you could help grow those freeholds.
Mm-hmm.
You could say like, hey, here's a freehold,
Yeah.
and we're going to go ahead and put some resources in that area. We want to.
Well, I think we are calling out Winter's Edge because they don't do it as often, but like we went to Bucaneer's Respite several times before they petitioned anything, and I think, and it's not on the onus of a whole bunch of people traveling or anything like that, but I think it's just a bonus that I think we helped you guys to some degree.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say that you
right?
probably did because, especially if you were just starting your park out and immediately you're in contact with the kingdom, I would expect the kingdom to at least a portion of its populace to go out of its way to go, okay, when are we going to visit this park?
Hey, I've got family up there. Hey,
Yeah.
I drive by there, when I'm going to wherever.
Make a group effort, and the visibility will help. Will help that park.
And even if it's like on the outer edges that you're kind of far away, say like 3 hours away or something like that, and kind of just pulling a number out of my ass, but just enough to be like, hey, we see you out there. If you need anything, I'm blah, blah, blah of this park, and I'm blah, blah of this park, and I'm really good at making weapons. If you guys need something like that, then maybe I can provide something for you.
Yeah, what kingdom doesn't want to grow? Even if your kingdom doesn't have a tax, like that's more people that might come to your events.
Right.
Right? I mean...
Well, I'm talking about more about like if we've got this new chapter, the kingdom can organize to get a bunch of people the current king right now is going through his list of where the monarchy's gonna visit right now.
Yep.
They can go, okay, we're gonna go, we'll give us a month, 2 months, we'll come visit as a unit, and that's just gonna help their park with grabbing people because suddenly this group of 5 people at the park suddenly has 30 people, and that's going to grab more of the community's eye
Right.
and add more legitimacy on their local level and might propel them into gaining more members, and it just supports them.
I guess I just wish this worked the opposite way of how it works now. Because currently you're a freehold and you have to go, hey, Winter's Edge, we really want to be in Winter's Edge. Like,
Not
that
in
would be
about
cool.
2 days.
Well, yeah. But I'm just, in general, right, you have to go, hey, we want to be a part of your kingdom. And like, I feel like it should be kingdoms wanting to get freeholds under their banner.
Right.
There's more incentive for the kingdom to get you than
I think
you
so.
to get the kingdom in a lot of ways.
I think so because as much as it sucks to not have access to ladder awards and a corpora that does things, there is, I think, a certain degree of merit in regards to not having anybody to answer to at the same time. AI was never checking on us. Like, we were just our own thing, and we could pretty much, again, I guess this does still go to liability. We could do whatever the fuck we wanted, and there was nothing going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody auditing us.
Oh, man, you took my contract.
Yeah. How hard would it have been for me to go into the orc and just give people 2 credits every weekend? There was nobody auditing us.
yeah, I mean,
It's you do, and I'm not saying we did, but I'm saying there's arguably a certain degree of freedom that you get where you literally don't have to keep up with kingdom politics.
Right.
You don't have to keep up with
God,
national
that
politics.
sounds so nice.
I like it. I believe, I know this sounds so, I don't know, just nerdy, but I genuinely believe in the organization as a whole. I believe in the idea of having this as an organization.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm a bureaucrat.
I just wish that it was the other way around and kingdoms were instead trying to woo the freeholds, right?
Sure.
Because I mean, I kind of did, right? Like, y'all propped up. You were legitimately like 10 minutes away from my family, like
Yeah.
up in Bristol. I was like, I can go visit them every time I'm up there.
Does it
And,
have
like,
car park? Oh, they need to be Winter's Edge. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
yeah, right. I was like, we want Bucaneer's Respite. Like, well, they could go to Rising Winds. Fuck Rising Winds. I'll fight Rising Winds. I'll kick their ass. I want Bucaneer's Respite. I want them in my
Yeah.
kingdom. Like, that was
Due to your own
genuinely-
convenience.
Yeah, I mean,
which is still, not a
totally
problem.
selfish, but like also,
not a
I mean,
problem.
as a kingdom, that's more people to vote. That's more people, that grow your pool of talent and knowledge. That is more people that can come to events and give your kingdom fucking money. Like,
More people who can develop ideas and solve problems and things like that too.
yeah, like you as a kingdom should be trying to capture freeholds, not the other way around.
Listen, us mountain people ain't so intelligent,
Oh
but we don't have a lot of intelligence, but we got wisdom.
Okay, yeah. The difference being intelligence is a tomato is technically a fruit, and wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. No, we'll argue about it being a fruit all day, and it's a tomato.
Tomato.
That's right.
Yeah, it's an R at the end of everything that doesn't. Like my mother-in-law says, share. Like
Sure.
share warsh. That's what it is. It's warsh. Yeah, weird R's in weird places.
Old change.
Yeah, wrestling.
Far. Listen, I got family up there. I know how it goes.
Yeah.
You been to the Fartar?
Tarfar?
No, the Fartar.
Fartar. No, I'm in
Yeah,
Fartar.
up over on the hill to Fartars.
We have lost our entire audience
Yeah,
by
we
now.
do.
This is the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I have an uncle who lives in Bristol, and he does this weird thing where he concatenates his words. So I'll give you an example. He says breakfast. Like there's a hard, or like he hates it because he's very religious, and he's like, I hate all your tattoos. Tattoos?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that like, that's not a mountain thing, right? That's just like he got dropped on his head or something.
Nah, dude.
He was in Vietnam.
There's
Agent Orange, probably.
There's such a weird history with the Appalachians. Like, I think a big part of it has to do with like the Irish being in the
Scottish.
area. Was it the Scottish? Maybe.
Yeah.
But
So-
regardless, there's a huge outside influence.
I'm going to butcher this.
on languages, but yeah, it's where
part
it
of the
comes
reason
from.
where hillbillies comes from is because of something to do with Scotland and Falling William or something like that. Yeah.
There was an Appalachian history class at college, and I just wasn't interested. It's nifty. I'm sure it's worth learning, but it just wasn't something I needed in my wheelhouse.
I think if you look at the folk music of like it's more especially like the Appalachians and stuff, and you look at Scottish and Irish folk area, you'll see a lot of overlap in the
Absolutely.
because of immigration and stuff. So
and it's evident in the language as well.
Yep. So yeah, what a weird transfer we got right there. That's a nice segue, right?
Yeah. You guys keep talking. At some point, I think my phone stopped recording. I don't know.
Oh,
Let me check on
that sucks.
Yeah, let me go
Oh,
find
well.
out where we dropped. If it's too much, I'll just insert like a graphic of Chops dancing or something in the background. Yeah.
just make it a loop.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I guess what are you looking forward to coming into a kingdom as a freehold?
Some of that's getting my people the awards that they've deserved over the last year.
Yeah. Dude, you've got some fantastic people working over at your place.
We really do. I've been the lead for 2 years now, and I'm getting a little tired.
You won't say.
Yeah, I mean it's not in a bad way. I mean,
Right.
it was worth it all, you know.
Absolutely.
But I can't know that my chapter is stable until I'm not running it anymore.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that goes hand in hand with the whole, what I mentioned before, where Lionsgate wasn't left with any idea of how you're supposed to run an organization.
Right. So, Glade / Radiant Valley is kind of the worst example of this, but I'm so glad that like Z and Quan now, in some ways, Vidalia and Boop and these guys have moved into the game and are relatively new, but are now picking up some of the
Taking up
positions
those
and
mantles.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because we really didn't utilize any of the positions at all. With this, I know we've referenced it before where Beefy didn't show up, so he's now sheriff or baron or whatever.
Yeah. You did nose goes with.
Yeah, nose goes with the positions and stuff like that. And by not taking it seriously, we got away with a whole lot because we had a large knowledge base of core members who could pick up the slack at any point in time. However, those are dwindling slightly, or they just don't want to do it in the slightest, so they're not. And having the new members able to do that is so valuable.
Well, that's how I know I'm going to have a healthy park is when I don't have to run it anymore.
Yes.
But, you know, and I've told them when my first year came and we're looking at the Kapora and I'm looking at them going, guys, I'm not supposed to be running this anymore.
Right.
You know, but if nobody runs, understand that I'm not going to just let it fall.
Right.
Yeah, you'd pro tempt that. And
Yeah, I can still do it as long as I don't have valid opposition.
Right.
Right. So I told him, I said, if nobody wants to run for this, and I'm not saying don't, if you're not ready to take the mantle, don't. I would rather still do it.
Yeah.
And I have the energy to do it, and I'm not as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as I was, but because I do need a break. I need to be able to think about something else for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm still going to come. I'm still going to be there every meeting. I'm still going to be there for counsel and to help them, but and it's going to be a big thing for me too, where this is 2 years my baby, to let go.
Yeah.
But I am both excited and scared for the day coming in the next couple months when I cannot sign in to any of our online assets.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you gotta. Yeah, at a certain point, you gotta be able to let that go.
Yeah,
right?
and
Like,
if you
there's-
don't, that's what causes a lot of those things to shut down.
That
You
causes
have to
burnout
let
so
go.
hard.
You have to let go. Well, no, it's just beyond that. You have to let, if you're always the one, it becomes that cult of personality.
Yep.
In which cult of personality isn't an inherently evil thing, but it does create a problem.
in his studio album, "My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy" by Kanye West, on the song "Power," he ends the song by asking, "Do you have the power to let power go?"
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Wise words.
But
I'm gonna let you finish, but
but
We're in my office now. I have all the knickknacks. I know where shit is.
that doesn't. It's not an inherently evil thing. It just sets you up for failure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the next person doesn't have the reins fully, then they're kind of
Yeah.
kneecapped.
Yeah. Because then he's just the Shadow King.
Yeah.
God, I'm so tired of the Shadow King. So actually, no. Owing to that, I want to tell you, your park is all the way behind you. Like, they respect the fuck
Yeah.
out of you.
I'm not trying to blow my own horn. I'm literally just giving you what they've said to me. They have said to me that they're scared to pick it up because they don't think I can do it as well as I have.
Doesn't matter.
That's their words, not mine.
I understand. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Much like with art science and stuff like that. Fail or whatever is first attempt in learning.
That's
right?
what I told him, something similar.
You have to be able to just go ahead and do it in some way or another, right?
Yeah. And I think you've built a strong enough foundation that even if somebody steps in as monarch and they completely eat shit for whatever reason, the park will keep going, man.
Yeah, you guys
it
have
will.
a great core.
And I told them I'll be there to answer your questions. I'll be there to guide you. I won't be in a position to do it for you. You've got to do it. And I will, if you come to me, I will answer your questions. You will still have to be the one to make the decisions.
Yep.
Right.
But I'm not disappearing just because I'm stepping down. And I think because they took that to heart and I'm not just going to buy Omp card.
Yeah.
Right.
I did all the hard work of setting up an
Yeah, and
Amp
now I'm
chapter.
done.
Yeah. Goodbye.
No.
I
think,
will appear again someday in another country, setting up another Amped Guard chapter.
How's
Wherever the
Croatia
wind
doing?
takes me. Yeah. How's Croatia doing? Not great, actually. Goddamn. No, I think you've got a solid foundation at your park. I think it'll keep going. I mean, even if you're not there, but it's still good that you'd be there.
Yeah.
We're at about that time where we asked the infamous
Already?
question.
Today.
I know, and I know you listen to the show, so you've had time to think about this on the drive up during the episode. No,
I really don't have
All right,
much to tell you. I can tell you some horror stories, not directly related to anything
you don't have
that
hold
Omp Guard
the fuck
people
on.
did.
You ain't got one good man. I sounded like Joe Dirt for a second there. You ain't got no whistling kitty chasers, Hoosker do's, Hoosker don'ts, with or without the scooter stick. God damn. Why do I know that? It's fine. You don't have one good crazy Amped Guard moment for us.
I really don't. It was so long ago.
Oh my god.
When I really played, that I never left my park really. Back in the day,
I was going to say, you guys really haven't made it to an event or anything like that.
I went to a
As
couple
park
events
or anything, right?
You tell us your horror story then, and I have one heartwarming one. I'll give you at the end.
Okay. Well, I guess this goes to how very. I'm sure other people have had similar instances or not as hostile instances, but really goes to show how much Kingsport did not like us in Lionsgate back then. We had people, here's the big one. These people's ingenuity, they should have been there with us. Like I don't understand why they were fighting it. Like, they should have been there fighting with us because these bastards made a trebuchet. Or no, was it a trebuchet? Or it was a launcher of some. It was a giant
Siege engine.
Yeah, on the back of a trailer. And
God.
And they were across the creek in the neighborhood behind. There was some power in this thing.
Good Lord.
They launched cedar blocks at us, like bits of cedar
Motherfucker.
block. And one of our players actually got caught in it. We had to take her to the hospital.
Yeah, that's
But
assault
They
with
were
a
so
deadly
far
weapon,
away,
dude.
we couldn't identify them. We didn't have tag numbers, nothing. They were here. boom, boom. What? It's raining rocks. Bam! One of us gets hit, and they're gone.
Holy shit! I thought we got it bad when
the
we had
paintball.
paintballs.
Yeah.
No. We've been. They attempted to run. Another group attempted to run us over. They had taken their tags off of their little rice burner, and jumped the curb, and was doing donuts and stuff in the park.
I weigh enough that I will total somebody's rice burner if you hit me with it. Like, that's fine. Like, but just know I'm jumping at your windshield, buddy.
They're taking their tags off and everything, so we had no way to identify them. Their windows were all blacked out. We couldn't see who was in the car whatsoever. And they about hit a couple of us that day. I don't think they were trying to hit us, but I think they were trying to get close enough to make it look like they were going to hit us.
I think legally, once you hit the person, there's no fucking distinction.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, attempt to is almost as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that I don't think would really make that big a difference. But they were gone before any kind of police happened to drive by. I'm trying to think. We've had people like mess with us just walking by,
Man.
which everybody's dealt with that. But,
Right.
That's the big things. I guess I can kind of reference something from back in the day that might be
Sure.
kind of stories. I remember an event we went to that was like. Is there like a Girl Scout camp around here? I think it was a Knoxville event. There was an event site that one of the Knoxville groups had hosted.
Did we do something at Big Ridge, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
The 4-H camp?
A 4-H camp.
Can you say that again?
A 4-H camp.
It's pronounced a camp.
Sorry.
Yeah, I remember there was a mess hall, and you went out from the mess hall. There was like cabins, and then you go left out of the mess hall, and down this hill there's a big ass ditch, and they had set up a light, and there was 24-hour ditching down there.
I feel like this is Big Ridge.
Yeah, this feels like Big Ridge.
Maybe I can't
don't we do
remember.
events
Nobody
there
told me where it was. I just got in the
we
back of a
outgrew it.
car and went.
Shame.
But I remember going there, and I think was the event called Flaming Fall or something?
I couldn't tell you a name of an event
It
from
was so long ago.
5 months ago. So
It was so long ago. But I remember I went and I won a sword.
oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah. Here's something that somebody, really wasn't great to say to like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old when you're just starting out an AMP card. It was all set up like carnival games. And there was like, I think there was a log toss, and then there was like, a place to shoot arrows up and try to knock them down, like lawn darts with arrows. And then there was a fighting tournament and a quest, and the quest
So-
was actually pointed towards it. And
I think this might have been the event that Flo lost his ocular cavity.
Oh, shit.
I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
he lost his what?
Well, he didn't lose it.
Somebody
He
cracked his ocular cavity.
Yeah.
Oh,
They had a bad pole arm that wasn't checked in it.
oh,
Yeah.
God.
I think that's that event, but I'm not 100% sure because my memory's pretty foggy whenever it gets to way back events and stuff.
I just remember it was all leading up to, there were some prizes at the very end based on how you scored in all the carnival games and the quests and everything at the last day of the event. There was a dagger fight where you held ropes.
Oh wow, man! I don't remember this at all.
Oh, like a thriller style knife fight, like you're
Yeah,
belted
kind
together.
of. Yeah, I see what you're going.
Or it's
Yeah,
Beat It, I think, right?
yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it was so much fun. It was the first event I'd ever been to.
Right.
And at the very end, I was tied with like two other people in total points for.
Oh, not with a rope.
No, just overall tied for total points to win this like actual live steel, battle ready sword
wow.
that was up for grabs. I think Dracos actually hosted the event because I remember him having the sword in his closet and talking about how
That might have been
this was a
a
reward
Sleeping
for it.
Dragon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
By itself event may not even been Winter's Edge at that point.
probably maybe
Yeah.
maybe. I remember I get up to it and they're telling us, oh, well, we're going to have to do a tiebreaker because we did not expect 3 people, maybe 2, but they're trying to
Right.
think of a reasonable tiebreaker for 3 people. And so it was going to be like,
Because if it was just 2 people, you could be like, cut the sword in half, right? Like,
look, we just throw it in between you both and we
don't speak of what comes next.
open.
Yeah.
There can only be one. but they were trying to think of something reasonable, so they had us perform something. Like they gave us like an hour to figure out what we wanted to do, and it came down to that. And I think they they did a little bit of role play with it too. And I'm so bad at role play.
Me too.
I'm so bad at role play. When I play D&D, I tell you what happens. I don't act it out.
Yeah.
And so they had me they're like, yeah, play a golem or pretend what's your take on a golem. And I was goofing around and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it came down to just two of us at the very end. Somehow I managed to get through that. And right before we're about to do our little performances, like sing a song, give an oratory, something like that, he turns around and he says, "Man, you're going to win this." And I said, "Well, why?" And he says, "These guys all hate me." And I was like, "Well, thanks for letting me know that the only reason I'm going to take this from you is because you're a dick." Apparently. And I don't know, it just seemed like such a dick move.
No, it's definitely solid.
I can't believe Sir Gillen came that close to winning a sword.
I was like,
no,
I didn't need
if
to
it was
know
a sleeping
that.
dragon thing, it wouldn't have been him.
Yeah,
He
you're
wouldn't
right.
have showed up, I don't think.
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of just deflating anything I could have gotten out of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is. It's 100%. It should not have been said.
Yeah.
But in their perspective, they were probably just frustrated with the whole thing. And
Yeah, sure, but that's the only story I can think of.
No, it's still a good
and
story.
that was my
I like
takeaway
it.
from that. I was like, you're a fucking asshole.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
We got 2 horror stories. I have one that's going to make you feel better.
Sure.
And it involves you directly. So the last time that we visited Bucaneer's Respite, I was still Monarch. I think I had like a week, maybe 2 weeks left in my
it wasn't
my
very
term
long.
at that point. And while we were down there, you had a bunch of your champion had set up a bunch of awesome games. There were even prizes. You guys made hot dogs. We talked about all that. And throughout the day, I kept getting pulled aside by different people to look at weapons or whatever the fuck else. And I'm going to say that damn near every member of your park, when they pulled me aside, said, "Hey, when we become kingdom, we want Ruben to get a title." Every single one of those people had the exact same opinion of you, man. So I can't tell you if you're getting the title because I'm not Monarch anymore. And honestly, I wasn't looking at the award recs that late in the game. I was like, okay, everything's been approved. So I think that's going to fall on Clover's shoulders. But I know that everybody at your park wants you to have it.
I don't think I did enough.
Fuck off.
Fuck off, dude.
I don't.
You have my recommendation.
I
as
don't,
soon as
man.
you're rubber stamped into it.
Yeah.
Legit. I'm horrible, and I never put in recommendations through official channels of evidence. Usually hey, you should give this guy a thing.
Maybe I'm too close to. Maybe you'll always be too close to your own things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude,
You know-
you've done so much. Not even kidding. It's easy for a Lord title. No doubt.
Maybe, but I don't. I think there's still a gap there to getting that.
Not a chance.
I mean, honestly, it's going to come down to Clover. Maybe he thinks the same way, but I can tell you everyone at your park looks up to you and thinks you deserve that. So that means a lot. And if you turn it down, you're kind of telling those people they're stupid. So
Well, I appreciate that.
no
from
pressure.
Them. I appreciate that from them because they actually made a mistake. The poor bastards. It was so embarrassing. But they made a mistake. They were like, "Yeah, we were doing mid-rain or something. I can't remember what it was." And at the very end, they're like, "Hey, man, we were doing online. I still hadn't set up things on my computer right to where we could all be on screen together."
Right.
And I think broadcast it to Facebook Live.
You got to turn on that Brady Bunch setting or whatever.
Yeah. And they're at the very end, they're like, "Hey, man, we'd like to tell you something. And can you put me on speaker?" And I said, "Sure." And I held it up, and they're like, "Well, we'd like to give you your title of Lord." And I'm like, "You can't do that. We're a freehold. I appreciate what you're doing there, but no, you can't do that."
Yeah, well, they have at least now started using the proper channels. So
I told me, you said you can talk to them, but I think even by being a freehold, it falls in the same line with the ladder award.
Yeah, we
it
couldn't award you anything. Honestly, I was like, come on, Lucas, we need to get them under so that we can give them all the awards they need.
I kind of toyed with the idea of just giving the fucking awards and then being like, what are they going to do?
What did AI do about it?
What are they going to do? By the time they get
There may
around
be
to doing
liability
anything about it.
involved.
Oh, there could be liability. But by the time AI got around to doing something with it, you'd have been in the kingdom, right?
Yeah. Well, that it does kind of mention that it does bother me that you can't even qual at another kingdom and get recognition from that kingdom.
Yeah.
I can understand cutting the chapter off at 2. I can understand that. That's fine. But if you want to travel and go do that, then that's their business.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
What do you have to tell? Do you have any stories?
No, I just told the one. I just
you
now
have
told the
more?
story.
You said you had 2. right?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't say I
thought
had
you
to.
did.
We got shot out with paintballs once. That happened.
Do
Anyway.
you have a story?
do you have a story? No.
Okay.
All right, we're going to end it
I
here.
don't tell stories here. This is your thing.
Ruben, Fjorn, and everyone at Buccaneers Respite, thanks for listening and thanks for being here.
June 19th.
June 19th. Yeah, pitch
writ
it
of
right
mark.
at the end here.
June 19th, writ of mark. I'm going to have things set up for you to like prepay if you want to. That way I can like, nothing. You can just prepay.
Yeah.
And then we can get an idea of like how many people are coming and try not to overspend on food. And, because that's a
Send me
easy
the
low
link.
budget.
Send me a link to to whatever the invite is, and I'll post it up in the show notes.
Yep. I'm about to post it everywhere and I'll send it.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or Spotify to get notified about new episodes. And make sure to follow us on Facebook for announcements and more.